the issue of Russia-Ukraine, also on the issue of phasing out fossil fuels. There are some differences with countries like Saudi Arabia wanting for longer ropes, more elongated deadlines rather than bringing them in. Geeta Mohan, do you want to talk us through that? So it's not just Russia-Ukraine, it's also about the green energy transition and the speed at which we get there, where there are some differences where India as the host country is having to walk a tightrope walk.
Well, absolutely, Rahul. Just coming back to the Bali declaration, I didn't think it was a watered-down declaration. In fact, if anything, everybody was surprised that Russia allowed those two paragraphs in, and India did play a role in putting in the sentence that it is not an era of war. So it was, in terms of the war, everybody was surprised that at the end of the day, Russia accommodated those two paragraphs. But they did lock themselves down for hours. We had to wait for the Bali declaration for a very, very long time, and it did require leadership intervention. Having said that, this time around we were surprised that Russia has walked back on the Bali declaration and China has put more impediments to the joint communique. So the challenge for India has been way more than for Indonesia. And on the climate front, yes, they did not deliver last time around. The COP28 is around the corner and they still haven't delivered. But on climate finance and on climate change, India, China, Russia, Saudi Arabia stand on one side, and you see the developed countries on the other side, but their issues are very different. Like you rightly said, Rahul, Saudi Arabia is talking about fossil fuel dependence and the fact that the timelines do not really help Saudi Arabia's cause. That is also trying to make a transition. Huge strides in renewable energy, but it will still take a decade, and a decade is a long time, and they do not want to lose out on the not just transformation but also development. And for developing countries, it's about first movers advantage and climate justice.
Delhi is a fortress this morning. Nabila Jamal is out and about at the Lodi Road area of New Delhi. Nabila, what was it like? You know, we're very happy, Shiv, Rajdeep and I, that we didn't have to go out, came straight from home to office. But when you were traveling, what's it like to be out and about in the streets of the capital this morning?
Gosh, Rahul, I've been trying to negotiate my way through many of the barricaded areas, but it's so hard to even pass a certain area anywhere around the NDMC. So this is one of those roads where there's strict vigilance. In fact, the residents here have been very well informed in advance about not being allowed inside without a proper pass. So they check a pass and only then allow. If I could show this board here, this is a quick look at a board that's already been put up by the Delhi police that says from the days of 8th, 9th and 10th, people without a pass will not be allowed into 16 of these areas, these intersections around the NDMC area, 16 intersections that lead up to the Pragati Maidan, which is categorized into Zone 1. So Zone 1 is high security zone, so there is no way that one can move in. But if I can show a quick look at the kind of vigilance here, CCTV cameras that have been added, at least a good lakh odd CCTV cameras, we believe, across the length and stretch of this NDMC area. There's proper vigilance on high-rise buildings just to ensure that there is no way or no bid of sabotage here. So this is a big, big day where the Delhi police, which have deployed nearly 130,000 security personnel, are ensuring that there is no loophole or no miss in securing the world leaders who are here in Delhi, Rahul. So this is what Delhi looks like.
You're in the capital.
I've never seen Delhi like this ever since I moved.
You know, don't go out. It's not worth it. It's just stay at home, watch Rajdeep, Shiv and I as we bring you this coverage. Get your morning cup of coffee, tea, whatever it is that gets you going. Don't bother going out.
No, I think we have to say central Delhi. If you're in and around central Delhi, why should an entire city lock down?
No, but there's a lot of
for
restrictions
a G20
all
summit?
over the. Why not? Because what if something goes wrong?
Yeah, but
Rajdeep?
you look at New York.
23 world leaders. 23 world leaders listening.
New York, UN General Assembly, in and around the UNGA. Not a good idea to be moving around.
It's a mess, yeah, of course.
It's a mess. But if you're in any other part outside central Manhattan.
But there's a big difference.
Life
Rajdeep.
continues.
UNGA happens every year. The UN is there. They keep doing these meetings. This
why?
is the biggest international extravaganza. No, there's never been an occasion when so many important world leaders have descended in the capital at the same time. You don't want anything to go wrong.
Rahul and I would disagree on that. I believe cities must work out systems by which people, dehadis, day laborers, should be allowed to go about doing their business without the security dragged in. It's in central Delhi. Make sure it's in a focused area in and around.
No, but imagine for a moment if something goes wrong. You know, it could be anything. There's so many mischief mongers who would try and create so much trouble. And if they do something, then the India can't even keep the city safe. The capital is not even safe. XYZ thing happens. So you have to be a little safe and put precautions first.
I would, in an ideal world, like to believe. A friend of mine from Chennai sent me a message today. I'm glad I don't live in Delhi. And this was because there's a sense that when you have a big VVIP event, it's not just G20, all kinds of VVIP events in the national capital, I think ordinary commuters suffer. But that's another matter. That's my view. That I genuinely believe we've got to work out a better framework.
But that's also probably because your friend lives in Chennai. Anyone who lives in Chennai will be glad they don't live in Delhi anyway. So by default.
No, I'm not sure I would be glad to live in Chennai given the heat and warmth that Chennai has through the year.
Don't say anything which gets us into trouble. Before all of Chennai is up in arms and Rajdeep is hashing for the wrong reason.
My limited point is we have to find ways. It's wonderful to have a large event conducted smoothly, and that's been the way this event has gone on. Not just now. You know, it's quite incredible. I think the impressive part of what Prime Minister Modi and his team have been able to achieve is to do 200 meetings in 60 different parts of the country. I mean, I was in Bihar a few months ago, and there was an event on labor involving unorganized labor as well as organized labor. Interestingly, at that event in Bihar, I met people who are involved with taxi services who had come from different parts of the world. You go to Goa, you had an event on yoga. Across India, G20 has managed to at least create and raise the profile of brand India. My only limited point is now when you've come to the grand finale, could you have done it in a manner that either involve more active citizen participation in some way or ensure that citizens can go about their daily lives while the top leaders of the world are engrossed in high diplomacy? That's the limited point.